Hello and welcome to another episode of Unstuck with Hypnopunk Transformation with Edge. And today is a very important show. It is entitled Sociopath versus Psychopath. Listening to this show may just save your life, or at the very worst, it may save your heart. All that coming up. As always, I'd like to give a big shout out for those who have left their 5-star reviews. You remember I love those on Google Play, on iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you listen to this show. That's what lets me know that the word is getting out there. So please do subscribe to this show, do give it a like, and do share so we can continue to grow this audience. So, psychopath versus sociopath. Let's talk a little bit about what both share. They both share a sense of conceitedness, sometimes labelled as narcissism, deceitfulness, also known as lying, and they both have the ability to manipulate an awful lot of the time. The DSM-5 book, which is the psychologist and psychiatrist essentially Bible for diagnosing certain disorders, would actually have both sociopathy and psychopathy as APD, antisocial personality disorder. But the difference, one of the main difference between a sociopath and a psychopath is a psychopath is born, if you look at recent studies, and a sociopath is created. Now, the psychopath, I'm going to break them down a little bit later on. Their amygdala and the prefrontal cortex of their brain doesn't light up the same way that, say, a normal, I hate that word, but a normal average person's brain would. It just doesn't. They are born with it. I'm going to get into the characteristics of psychopath and sociopath a little bit later on. Whereas a sociopath can be created in society. Their brain is functioning as a normal, operating, healthy member of society, if there is such a thing. However, through society, through family, through friends, through schooling, through social media, TV, media in general, they can be shaped to become a sociopath. Some specific characteristics of a sociopath are the people that are created are they're impulsive, they're irresponsible, they find it very hard to hold down a job. If money not being a problem, they'll travel extensively, and they often can do shady things. However, when we look at serial killers and perpetrators of violent crime, they're not actually sociopaths. Sociopaths actually have the ability to empathize with other people, which is a stark contrast to that of a psychopath. Now, think of a psychopath. A psychopath doesn't have any empathy. Remember, these are the percentage of society that are born where their prefrontal cortex and their amygdala, which is responsible for flight, fight, or freeze, and various emotions in the mind and body, are secreted. Now, a psychopath, stark contrast with sociopath, they have a lot of self-control. They're very calculating. They blend into society. They oftentimes have jobs of authority, CEOs of companies, billionaires, surgeons, politicians, police officers, generals in the army. The odds are you probably couldn't spot a psychopath if I didn't give you those things in modern society, but you could potentially spot a sociopath in modern society. Both a sociopath and a psychopath, as mentioned earlier, they share the ability to generally be quite narcissistic. However, you can be a sociopath or a psychopath and be narcissistic. Both of them have narcissism as one of the traits. However, you could just experience being a narcissist and not be a sociopath or a psychopath. So you could just be a narcissist. You wouldn't have to necessarily be a sociopath or a psychopath, but both a psychopath and a sociopath will be narcissists as well. The sociopath is more likely to potentially break your heart and steal your wallet or your purse. A psychopath more likely to kill you or do violent damage to you or screw over your company and have no feelings about it. When we look at recent statistics, psychopaths make up about 4% of the population, and we're in 2019 now, and we have over 7 billion people on Earth, so that's an awful lot of people. A psychopath, however, will make about 1% of the population. So that would be that there would be about 7 million approximately psychopaths on Earth right now, and about 27 million sociopaths. I think that number might be a little bit higher than that, actually. Some of the key difference are psychopaths don't have a conscience. They do not feel guilt or shame or empathy. However, a sociopath does. A psychopath is manipulative and calculating, whereas a sociopath is less organized and more likely to commit spontaneous crimes. A sociopath can form relationships with other people, genuine relationships, whereas a psychopath has to act or fake those relationships in order to be around people and form relationships. They act how they perceive, how they see normal abiding members of society acting with people. Think of the TV show Dexter, if you've ever seen that. Psychopaths are a more severe form of a sociopath. All psychopaths are sociopaths, but sociopaths aren't necessarily psychopaths. And as mentioned, a psychopath doesn't feel shame or guilt. Now, shame is a public emotion, whereas guilt is a personal emotion. Shame tends to be something that's done to us, and more potentially people are aware of it in the public, whereas guilt tends to be something that we've done that we feel in the confines of our own mind or our own home. Now, people throw words like sociopath and psychopath around today in modern society, and they often get mixed up, which is quite frustrating. They also will throw narcissist in there, which we discussed earlier, and they don't seem to grasp what the difference is. Now, every psychopath is a narcissist, but not every narcissist is a psychopath. You may possibly be married to the narcissist. There is an overall percentage of the population that probably does have the traits and exhibits the traits of a narcissist. And if people want to work on those skills, hypnosis is a great thing to help people release that, because narcissism is really somebody who suffers from a lack of self-esteem, and by having that self-esteem they may have all the confidence in the world. To quote Mike Tyson at the height of his boxing fame, I have all the confidence in the world but I have no self-esteem. So these people may have an awful lot of confidence, awful lot of bravado, however don't have a lot of self-esteem, which is the deep-rootedness, the rich background tapestry of your mind. I often find in working with people that exhibit or suffer from the symptoms of sociopathy, these things, again, they can be adjusted, they can be changed to become better people, deeper understanding of themselves and more connectiveness with other people. I have not consciously worked with many psychopaths that I have been aware of, but studies show us there's not an awful lot perhaps we can do to necessarily help these people. Now, when it comes to getting some kind of help, I was going to say the word therapy, but I hate the word therapy. So some kind of coaching, I'd rather call it. Oftentimes, the narcissist won't ever see somebody like me because they don't think they have a problem. They think they are incredible, so don't seek out help. The psychopath, oftentimes, are very cold, very calculated, very aware of where they are, doesn't necessarily want to change that. But I do come to terms and see from time to time sociopaths that will come in that want to change the course of their life and their directions, be that in work or even more importantly in their intimate and romantic relationships with people. So there you have it. Sociopaths versus psychopaths with a little bit of narcissism topped off as a cherry on top of the cake. Hope you've learned something from this today, to perhaps see people in your own life. Perhaps be brave. Perhaps you see some of these traits in yourself. You're a human being. None of us are perfect, yet none of us are broken. Perhaps you can use some skills in hypnosis or other transformations to help better your social connections, your connections with yourself, your self-esteem.
if there's something in your life that's been causing you to feel stuck, be that in your health, be that in your relationships, be that in your career, and you're not quite sure how to fix it or where to turn, but it's getting to a point where you've got to do something about it because it's causing you some kind of pain, be that physical, be that mental, be that emotional, then please do contact me on mail@LUKEenosis.com. Mail, MAIL, at LUKEnosis, LUKENOSIS.com, and request a 30-minute complimentary Unstuck session with me, either over the telephone or over some kind of video messaging. And please understand, this is not a free therapy session, this is not a hypnosis session, anything like that. It's an opportunity to have me in your corner for 30 minutes to brainstorm some ways that potentially I can help you to pull yourself out of that hole that you're in, to take your life to the next level.
And as always, I have been Hypnopunk. Always believe.